Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to a joint webinar entitled Hesitancy versus Necessity: Understanding the Ethical Considerations of COVID-19 Vaccination for Religious Educators, and REAP General Assembly 2021. This is a co-sponsored event by the De La Salle University Theology and Religious Education Department and the Religious Educators Association of the Philippines. My name is Kim Mendoza from Ateneo de Manila University, and I will be facilitating the first part of today's program.
And my name is Ronnie Celestial from De La Salle University. I will be moderating the RIP General Assembly later on in the program.
Thank you, Ronnie. I will call you back in a short while. So, before we begin, everyone is reminded to stay until the end of the program and to accomplish the evaluation form to receive your certificate of appearance and qualify for accreditation of 3 CPD units. Also, there will be a dedicated time to raise your questions or offer your comments for today's discussion. To formally open the program, may I now call on our REAP officers, Dr. Mariel Abante, Dr. Philip Joseph Sarmiento, Dr. Teresa Camarines, and Dr. Rico Jacoba to lead us in prayer. Thank you, REAP officers. Indeed, may God bless and protect us. Now, to welcome us in this occasion and to provide context on the focus of today's webinar, I would like to call on the chairperson of the Theology and Religious Education Department of De La Salle University, Dr. Fides del Castillo.
To Reverend Father Nicanor Austriaco, my colleagues in the Theology and Religious Education Department, the REAP officers and members, students, guests, and friends, good afternoon to everyone. The recent arrival of effective vaccines against SARS-CoV-2 was a major scientific and public health triumph. However, the scientific advances that made these vaccines available is just the first step. We have to expand our understanding on how these vaccines can reach the people. This includes challenging logistics and distributions to specific regions. Another issue that many of us are facing is on vaccine hesitancy versus necessity. There are unique elements to the current pandemic that are relevant for consideration. Studies have shown that most commonly cited reasons for non-intent were concerns about vaccine side effects and safety. Some people feel the lack of trust in the government. They think that the vaccines were developed too quickly. Initial strategies to address this vaccine hesitancy include public health educational campaigns, talking to healthcare professionals, and taking part to communal discussion about vaccine distribution across population. Another possible approach is to persuade individuals with interactions guided by moral foundations theory. According to Graham and colleagues, the theory describes the natural inclination to embed moral judgments within decision making. It suggests that human beings have innate intuitions that lead them to emotional responses for approval or disapproval. According to the theory, people make decisions based on this, often unconscious intuitive processes, and then after the fact generate reasons and justifications for their decision. Hence, the topic this afternoon by Father Nick is not only interesting, but also relevant and very timely. Let me thank Sir Ruel, the RIP President, and its officers for providing this wonderful event for us to understand and discern the ethical considerations of COVID-19 vaccination. I would also like to thank Father Nick that even in his busy schedule, he would able to share his time and expertise to all of us. May this occasion allow us to uphold what is appropriate and right for the common good. Thank you very much and God bless everyone.
Thank you, Dr. Del Castillo. At this point, it is now proper to introduce our esteemed speaker. And to do this, I would like to invite Dr. Dalmasito Cordero Jr., faculty from the TRED Department and REAP Vice President.
Good afternoon to all. Our speaker for today completed his Bachelor of Science in Bioengineering, summa cum laude, at the University of Pennsylvania, and then earned his PhD in biology from MIT, where he was a fellow of the Howard Hughes Medical Institute. He was ordained a priest in the Order of Preachers in May of 2004. He earned his pontifical license in Sacred Theology, STL, and Moral Theology at the Dominican House of Studies in Washington, D.C. in 2005, and a pontifical doctorate in Sacred Theology, STD, at the University of Freiburg in Switzerland in 2015. He is completing his MBA at Providence College in 2020. He currently serves as Professor of Biology and of Theology at Providence College in Providence, Rhode Island, Director of ThomisticEvolution.org, and Founder, Chief Operating Officer of Semper Veritas LLC. He is also a research fellow at the Center for Religious Studies and Ethics at the University of Santo Tomas in Manila, Philippines. His NIH-funded laboratory at Providence College is investigating the genetics of programmed cell death using the yeast Saccharomyces cerevisiae and Candida albicans as model organisms. During the pandemic, he pivoted his ongoing research efforts to developing a yeast delivery platform for a COVID-19 vaccine for the Philippines. His first book, Biomedicine and Beatitude, An Introduction to Catholic Bioethics, was published by the Catholic University of America Press in 2011. It was recognized as a 2012 Choice Outstanding Academic Title by the Association of College and Research Libraries. A second edition of the book is in press with an expected publication date in 2021. During the past year, he has been visiting professor of biological sciences at the University of Santo Tomas. He is also a fellow of Octa Research, an independent team of data analysts that providing expert data analysis, forecasts, and recommendations for pandemic management for the national and local government officials in the Philippines. Most recently, he is the lead investigator for the UST COVAX vaccine awareness team at UST that is working to promote the use of the COVID-19 vaccines to end the pandemic in the Philippines. My dear friends, let us welcome Reverend Father Nicanor Pier Giorgio Austriaco of the Order of Preachers.
So thank you so much, Doc, for that wonderful introduction. Let me just share my screen. So thank you again for the kind invitation from REAP and from the De La Salle University Theology Department to present this afternoon on vaccine hesitancy with regards to the COVID-19 vaccines here in the Philippines. So my lecture this afternoon is going to be divided into three parts. I will begin by interrogating vaccine hesitancy in the Philippines. What exactly are Filipinos concerned about with regards to the COVID-19 vaccines? I will then briefly describe our efforts on the UST COVAX awareness team to increase vaccine confidence in our country. And the vast amount of the majority of my lecture this afternoon is going to be educating the vaccine hesitant in the Philippines by talking about the sociology, the science, and the ethics of the COVID-19 vaccines as we have them here in the Philippines. So I'm going to begin by just summarizing one of our studies to interrogate vaccine hesitancy in the Philippines. At the end of January this year, my undergraduate team at UST and I wrote up and deployed an open access social media survey to try to understand vaccine hesitancy in the Philippines. We were able to obtain 15,651 responses from all the regions of our beloved country. And the data revealed that 56% of our respondents were willing and ready to take the vaccine. Now, this number, 56%, is actually a little bit higher than other studies that have also looked at vaccine hesitancy in our country. And one possible reason is that our survey, because it is open access on social media, was not able to reach individuals who are either very poor or very old because they would not have access to the web. And nonetheless, we believe that this snapshot in time at the end of December gives us a reasonable understanding of why Filipinos have some concerns about the vaccine. We hope to repeat the survey in September after the vaccines start to roll out in great numbers to see whether or not there has been a change in vaccine hesitancy as the vaccines actually appeared in our country. So one of the things that's important to highlight is that our study showed that Filipinos actually believed that vaccines can work. This is in contrast with anti-vaxxers in the United States and in other countries in the West who are opposed to any vaccination whatsoever. What you see here is that significant numbers of Filipinos, greater than 80%, actually believe that vaccination will help them deal with COVID-19. So they are open to vaccination, but they are concerned primarily about these vaccines. So the specific concerns include fake vaccines, side effects, safety, efficacy, and the vaccines not being tested properly. It's interesting, very few other countries in the West are worried about fake vaccines. But as I explained to my American colleagues, this is a standing challenge here in the Philippines because of the numerous, well, there's fake everything everywhere. And so the concern here is we have to ensure that the vaccines are actually legitimate and are protected by the government. So when we asked our respondents about their preferences for a particular brand, what is interesting is that even though half of our respondents had no preference, a significant number, 46%, were waiting for, preferring a vaccine made either in the United States or in Europe. As I will explain later, this is a challenge because there is a profound shortage of vaccines in the world this year, especially vaccines from the West, which is why we need to rely on vaccines from China and Russia. And it is significant that many Filipinos are very wary of these particular vaccine brands. Now, when we asked them about their worries, our 15,000 Filipino respondents revealed that unlike many individuals in the West, Filipinos are more concerned about family members getting sick rather than themselves getting sick. And I think this is really important, but it's not surprising if you're a Filipino. Our families are at the very heart of our lives and our loves. Now, finally, we wanted to look at the influencers that shape how Filipinos understand their vaccines. We found that Filipinos are looking to other Filipinos, other people, to decide whether or not they're going to get vaccinated. And again, revealing some of the distrust that Filipinos have for their government and for their politicians. Significant numbers wanted their politicians to receive the vaccine first to ensure that the vaccines were safe and efficacious. So in response to the survey, I established the UST COVAX awareness team, and we have been working on a public awareness campaign for the Philippines, and our goals are threefold. First, we want to provide the Filipino people with truthful information that will address their specific concerns about the safety and efficacy of the vaccines. I will go over that information, that data, that evidence later in my lecture. We wanted to emphasize the need to vaccinate to protect not just yourself, but your families. And mention has already been made about the common good. And when people ask me about vaccinations from a moral, ethical perspective, being vaccinated is not just about preserving the individual good, but as well as promoting and protecting the common good, which is the good of all of us living together. And finally, we wanted to provide the Filipino people with personal testimonies of kababayans from around the world who had received the vaccine so that our people can understand that other Filipinos have also been vaccinated. So the UST COVAX response has been the following. So this is a picture of my team. We have 30 undergraduates at UST, primarily from the Department of Biological Sciences, as well as a few from the Department of Advertising Arts, who help us in a wonderfully collaborative way to develop infographics for social media. So what the biology majors do is they collect information on different subjects relating to the vaccines. So here you've got infographics based that describe the vaccines we have received or will be receiving from around the world. We do this in English and also in Filipino. So this is an infographic dealing with how the different vaccines work. I will be going through this information later in my lecture. And I encourage, and finally, we also invited Filipinos from all over the world who had been vaccinated to tell us about their stories, to tell us about what they wanted to say to other Filipinos. And so we have gotten testimonies from the Middle East, from Europe, from the United States, Australia, and we are now getting testimonies from Filipinos who've been vaccinated here in the Philippines. And I'm going to invite the members of REAP. If you have, if you invite you and your colleagues to use our social media infographics, they're available for free on our Facebook page, our UST COVAX awareness team, and we upload these regularly. I think the students are doing 2 or 3 infographics per week. Depends on the exam schedule. So when there are exams, it goes down a little bit. And then when there are no exams, it is restored to 2 or 3. And I encourage the participants of this General Assembly to take advantage of our work to help to spread the truth about these vaccines in order to combat vaccine hesitancy. Now, the bulk of my lecture this afternoon is talking about educating the vaccine hesitant. How do we help our friends, our relatives to understand the necessity for getting these vaccines? So I'm going to begin with an overview of the COVID-19 vaccine so you understand what they are, right? So this is the coronavirus vaccine tracker from the New York Times from just a few days ago. So this has not really been changed. What you see is there's about 100 or so vaccines that are being developed around the world. 8 have been approved. 4 have been abandoned. So it's important, I think, for you to understand that not every single vaccine candidate is approved because the standards for a safe and efficacious vaccine are very high. To give you an example, one of the vaccines that was abandoned was a vaccine that was being developed at the University of Queensland in Australia. It was ultimately abandoned when the scientists discovered that the vaccine delivery platform they were using, so they were, as we will talk about shortly, a vaccine delivers something to your body. And there are many different ways of delivering the package. The package is the SARS-CoV-2 spike protein. We will talk about that in a few minutes. I will explain what that is to you. But the SARS-CoV-2 spike protein is delivered to your body in different ways. The University of Queensland was using an HIV vaccine delivery system, virus delivery system. And what they showed is that people who were tested for this vaccine ended up testing positive for HIV, even though they had no HIV. And so this false positive result would have undermined our ability to keep track of HIV/AIDS, which is one reason why the vaccine was abandoned. However, God has provided us with 8 vaccines so far. And as you can see, there are many other vaccines along the way. So this is just the list of the vaccines that we are using. Many of them you are familiar with. So we have Pfizer and Moderna. We have Gamaleya from Russia. And then the 2 really available ones here in the Philippines are AstraZeneca from the European Union and the United Kingdom, and Sinopharm and Sinovac, primarily Sinovac, which are from China. So let's go through these. How do they work? So what you have to understand from a basic biological foundation is that antibodies destroy SARS-CoV-2. An antibody is like a cruise control missile that specifically targets the virus and destroys the virus. And what a vaccine does is that a vaccine helps your body to make the antibodies that destroy SARS-CoV-2. So this is a very famous picture. This is Maggie Noonan. She was 90 years old at the end of last year. She's the first person in the world to be vaccinated against COVID-19 outside of a vaccine trial. She was vaccinated in the United Kingdom. And what is not usually known is that her nurse is a Filipina who has been working at the National Health Service in England for many, many years. Now, this is a picture of the SARS-CoV-2 virus, and you see that the skin of the virus is covered with about 70 to 75 spike proteins, and the spike proteins are indicated in red. Now, the spike protein is the key that the virus uses to enter your cells. And so in order to teach your body to fight this virus, the vaccines will take this spike protein and introduce the spike protein into your body to teach your body to recognize the spike protein and build antibodies against it. So that if you are exposed in the future to SARS-CoV-2, your body will be able to fight and defeat the virus before you get very sick. So there are several vaccine delivery systems. So if you buy Lazada and you want a package, Lazada can deliver your package to your house in many different ways. It can come with a car, it can come with a motorcycle, it could come with someone walking along the street. So there are many delivery systems, but the same package. I told you that the package is the spike protein, but there are 4 different ways so far to deliver this protein. So the most famous ones are the RNA vaccines. This is Pfizer and Moderna. And what is injected into you is the information for the spike protein. Your body makes spike protein and for about 2 days. And it teaches your immune system, your body, to fight off spike protein. On the left side, you have viral vectors. This is AstraZeneca and Gamaleya from Russia. In here, you have a monkey virus that's called adenovirus. It is a dead monkey virus that is carrying the spike protein into your body. Then we have whole virus. This one is Sinopharm Sinovac. What you have is that the SARS-CoV-2 virus is inactivated. It is killed, and then the dead virus is injected into you. And since the dead virus is covered with the spike protein, your body learns to recognize the spike protein. Now, finally, there's the protein subunit. This is the Novavax vaccine. It has not yet been approved for use anywhere in the world, but the phase 3 clinical trials are nearly done. So these are the 3 different vaccines that are available in the Philippines. So you have the Sinovac from China, the Gamaleya from Russia, and the AstraZeneca from the UK. In the last few days, we have also received a few doses of Pfizer from the COVAX facility at the World Health Organization. But there's so few of those, I'm not going to go over them. So a lot of people are comparing the efficacy. First of all, they ask me, Father, which is the best vaccine I should get? And I say the best vaccine is the vaccine that is being offered to you today. If as we will see, there's a significant shortage of vaccines around the world. So the vaccine that is given to you today is the best vaccine that you should take. Now, a lot of people were saying, well, how about, the numbers are so low, 67 and 92, 79, as compared to like Pfizer and Moderna, which are 95 and 97. I say the important number is actually not how much you will be protected against COVID. It is the protection against the COVID that will make you so sick that you will go to the hospital. And you can see we're getting 96, 100%. So what that means is that these vaccines will protect you against COVID. And even though it is not 100% protection, because these numbers are not 100%, if you get COVID after you are vaccinated, it's very rare to get COVID. So in the United States, there have been, out of 95 million people who were vaccinated, 9,000 got it. So that's 0.01%. That means that if the entire Philippines was vaccinated, then we would only have 9,000 cases. That is probably less than the number of students at De La Salle. It's less than the number of students at UST for sure. So you basically have fewer numbers of people who get sick. And here's the important thing. If you get sick, you get very mild COVID. You will not go to the hospital. You will not get pneumonia. You will not die. And so that's really important to understand, that the reason why you need to get a vaccine is the vaccine will protect you from going to the hospital and from dying. Now you will notice here that they are efficacious also against the variants. I've not included the new variant, the B1617 from India, that is a big concern now. But all the data shows that all the vaccines that we have will protect you against the different variants by giving you protection against severe disease and hospitalization. Now, you're going to notice that these two, Gamaleya and AstraZeneca, have an icon of a human fetus in his mother's womb. And the reason for this is there is an ethical concern. So this is a picture of cells that were used to make or to test some of the vaccines. So these are called HEC293 cells. They were obtained from the remains of an aborted female fetus in 1972 and 1973. And so a lot of people are concerned, especially those who are deeply sensitive to the abortion issue, because the abortion issue is so tragic and so gravely immoral, that the Vatican in last December had to come out with a document explaining why it is okay for you to receive these vaccines, even though these vaccines have been linked to a historic abortion. And this is the ethics that I would like to highlight. There are many evil things that have happened in the past. And one of the things that we have to be concerned about is how we behave today in relation to evil in the past. If our behavior today leads to evil in the future, then we cannot do what we are doing. So for example, if our use of the vaccines would encourage vaccine producers to support more abortions, we would not be able to use these vaccines. However, it's important to highlight that the vaccines that we would use today do not lead to future abortions, because there is no incentive for a company to make new aborted cell lines, given that the cell lines that we have today are so good and so well understood. This is why the Vatican, when it published this document in December of last year, made it very clear that we can receive these vaccines, especially because there is a proportionate good of ending the pandemic to help the poor and those who are vulnerable, to save their lives, especially since in this country, in the Philippines, we really do not have any vaccine choice. So I want to reassure those who are listening that from a moral perspective, receiving these vaccines are good. One, because they protect not just yourself, but your family, your friends and loved ones, including the entire community. So it protects the common good. And any concerns that you may have about using these vaccines, because some of them have been linked to a historic abortion, you should be consoled and reassured that your use of these vaccines will not lead to future evil, which is why the Vatican has encouraged us to use them, especially when there is no choice available. So with regards to the safety of the vaccines, I think it's important to highlight, as of a few days ago, 1.4 billion doses have already been given to people around the world. Now, why is this large number important? It's important because we understand the safety of a vaccine based on the number of people who've been vaccinated. So, for example, the yellow fever vaccine. The yellow fever vaccine, which was made nearly 100 years ago, has been used on about 600 million people. So even today, there are twice as many people who have been vaccinated against COVID as compared to those who've been vaccinated against yellow fever in the last 100 years. And so we can understand the side effects of these vaccines because so many people have been vaccinated. Now, earlier, someone pointed out that there is a concern that these vaccines were made very quickly, that the reasons why these vaccines were made in 10 months rather than in 10 years is twofold. The first is there was unlimited money given to the scientists who made the vaccines. I'm a scientist. Most of the time, I am trying to find money to support my research. When there is an unlimited amount of money that is given to you to make a vaccine, you do not have to spend other time doing anything else but making the vaccine. So the first thing is that there was so much money that there was unlimited amounts. So scientists did not have to worry about money. The second thing you have to realize is that in order to test a vaccine, you need to have sick people. So if you are going to test an Ebola vaccine, you have to wait until there's an Ebola outbreak somewhere in the world. So sometimes you have to wait 5 years before someone gets Ebola in Africa, and then you go to Africa and you vaccinate everyone around this surge, the spike in Ebola, and then you can count how many people were protected against Ebola. This was not a problem with COVID-19 because everyone everywhere was getting sick. So the scientists did not have to wait for someone to get sick. They just went outside their university, outside their lab, and people were getting sick around them. So they could inject thousands of people around them to test the vaccines quickly. And that is what they did. They were able to test the vaccines, and they were able to show that significant numbers of people were protected against COVID-19 without significant side effects. So what are these side effects? So this is a picture of me receiving the second dose of the Moderna vaccine in the United States. I'm currently actually in quarantine in a hotel in Makati. I'm on day 7 of my quarantine. I have 10 days of quarantine. When I returned to the Philippines this past Sunday, I was swabbed earlier today. I have to wait for the result. And after the result, I have to wait 10 days before I leave, even though I'm vaccinated. And that's because there is no way today internationally to verify the vaccination. And until governments around the world develop a vaccine passport that can be shared from one country to another, we will not be able to verify the vaccines. However, what I want to show you, these are the common side effects. So injection pain, fatigue, headache, muscle pain, fever, joint pain, chills, nausea, and swelling. I got all of them except the nausea. And as you can see, the second dose, so the red, the second dose, more people get side effects than the first dose. And that is absolutely true. The first dose of Moderna, which I got at the end of January, I fell asleep maybe for 2 hours, I was fine. The second dose at the end of February, I was very sick for 1 day. I was exhausted, I had a headache, my entire body was painful, I had fever, and all my joints were painful for 1 day. And I think that's really important for you to see. The side effects are a sign that the vaccine is working because the side effects is your body's response to the vaccine. This is why the side effects are more difficult the second dose as compared to the first dose. First thing. Second thing, younger people have worse side effects than older people. So in my convent in the United States, there are 40 priests, 40 Dominican friars. When we got our second dose, all the Lolo priests had no side effects. And those of us who were young, we were sick for the entire day. Because why is that? Because the young people have more robust immune response, which is why the side effects are worse. So for an older person, a lolo and lola, the immune response is older, is therefore slower, and therefore the side effects are not as bad. But you notice they will all pass after 24 to 48 hours. Now, what about the risk for AstraZeneca? Now, a lot of people are talking about blood clots. Let's look at the data. The data is that the risk of blood clots with AstraZeneca is 1 in 1/4 million. And people go, wow. But you see, you have to compare it to other risks. So the risk of being hit by a lightning is only 1 in 15,000. And you have no problems walking outside when it is raining. So if you do not have a problem walking outside when it is raining because the risk is 1 in 15,000 to be hit in lightning, then you should not be worried about getting a blood clot with AstraZeneca when the risk is 1 in 250,000. Now compare the risk of dying in a car crash. It's 1 in 103, but we have no problems entering a car and driving around Metro Manila. Now, the reason is because we measure the risk and the benefit. And we say that the benefit of being in a car is more than the risk of dying in a car crash. And I can tell you the same thing. The risk of protecting yourself and your family members is much greater than the very, very low risk of you getting a blood clot of 1 in 250,000. Now, how about severe allergic reactions? If you look at the number again, it's 10 in 4 million people in the United States. And this is why when you are vaccinated here in the Philippines, they will ask you if you have allergies. And they're going to be ready in case you are one of the very few people who have an allergic response. They will have a quick solution to that. It's called epinephrine. It's called an EpiPen, and they will inject that EpiPen directly into you to prevent you from getting sicker. So I want to reassure you that the risk for allergic reactions is very small, and the government will be ready to protect you if you are one of the rare people who gets a reaction against the vaccine. Now, can vaccines end the pandemic? So we always talk about the ethics. Why are we getting vaccinated? We're getting vaccinated to protect ourselves, to protect our families, and to end the pandemic, because the pandemic is a burden, especially to the poor and those who are vulnerable. So this is just a graph that shows the number of people who've been vaccinated in 3 countries, Israel, the United Kingdom, and the United States. And what you see is that significant numbers of these people in these countries have been vaccinated already. In fact, Israel has achieved herd immunity. It's about over 60%, nearly 70% at this time. And this is Israel, so you can see this is February 6th. This is already 2 months ago, and they were already getting significant numbers of their people vaccinated. And what they saw is that when the people got vaccinated, the number of cases went down, the number of people going to the hospitals was lower, and the number of severe illness was also lower. And so they were able to show that the pandemic is ending. If you go to Israel now, there are no more masks, no more social distancing, no more curfew, no more lockdown, because the vaccines are good enough to prevent that. Yesterday, the CDC in the United States announced that all fully vaccinated Americans do not have to wear a mask in public anymore. So just to give you a sense of why we want to be vaccinated, it is to return to normal, especially by Christmas this year. And what you see in Israel is that 21 days after the second dose, so 2 or 3 days after the second dose, there were no more infections amongst people who were vaccinated. Let me just reiterate this. Once you are vaccinated, it takes 6 weeks for you to get immune. Because a lot of people think I will be vaccinated today and tomorrow I'm protected. It takes 1.5 months for you to be fully protected. 2 weeks after the first dose, you will have some protection, but you will need 6 weeks, nearly 2 months, especially if you are older, to be fully protected. This is why some people will tell you, oh, I got COVID, I was vaccinated. But it turned out usually these are people who were vaccinated and got COVID a few days or just a few weeks after the first dose. You have to wait at least 6 weeks after the first dose in order to be fully protected. Now let's talk about the COVID-19 vaccines in the Philippines. First thing you need to know is that there is a severe shortage of vaccines in the world. So if you look here, there are 7.2 billion people in the world. And in the first half of this year, they can only make 7.2 billion doses. So imagine there's 1 dose per 1 person, but you need 2 doses to be fully vaccinated. So there's not enough. Now, the second half, hopefully we'll get to 15 billion. You will see that next year and the year after, there will be excess. But for now, there's a severe shortage. The next thing you need to know is that all of the vaccines have already been bought or reserved by many of the countries in the West. So look at the United States. So the United States has 330 million people. What this means is that the United States will need 600 million doses in order to vaccinate all its people. But the Americans have bought and reserved 3.3 billion doses. So you see, this is why there's not enough vaccines. When people complain why the national government, the Philippines, why our vaccination is so slow, it's not because the government is not working hard. There are no vaccines. Because look at this, the European Union has bought 4.3 billion doses of the vaccine. Now, there are 600 million people in Europe, so you would need 1.2 billion doses, but they have bought 3 or 4 extra doses per citizen. This is why there's not enough. Now, you will see the COVAX facility. This is the World Health Organization. They bought 4 billion, and they're distributing these vaccines around the world. So we actually, here in the Philippines, we have received from the COVAX facility, Pfizer and AstraZeneca. So the AstraZeneca and Pfizer doses that we have in the Philippines today are actually part of this COVAX facility. But you see, there's not enough vaccines because the Europeans and the Americans have bought pretty much everything. Here we are, Philippines. We have reserved 133 million doses, 1 dose for every Filipino, because there's 112. So you see, we don't have enough yet, but we are waiting because once the Americans are finished with their vaccination, which is expected in July, all of these vaccines, the extra vaccines, will be released to the rest of the world, which is why our vaccine program in the Philippines will only really start in July, in the 3rd and the 4th quarter, once the supply is released from the rest of the world. We will be getting vaccines from all over the world because there is such a shortage. Now, here is the rollout. So this is just to give you a picture. You see, in the first quarter, we had about 2 million doses. In the second quarter, we have 11 million. But now you will notice in the third quarter, we have 13 million plus 20 million plus 20 million. So we will have 50 million doses in the third quarter and 50 or 60 million doses in the fourth quarter. You will say, why all of a sudden are there so many coming in the end of the year? I told you that's because the Americans will be finished with their vaccination program. So all the extra vaccines that they have been keeping will now be given to the rest of the world. To give you a sense of the vaccine priority, so ethics, who gets vaccinated? Well, bioethics, medical ethics will say that those who get vaccinated are those who are most at risk for getting COVID-19 and for dying. And you can understand this ethics. For example, if I have a heart and I have two people who need a heart transplant, I ask which person gets the heart transplant. It doesn't matter if it is a senator versus a housewife. It should not matter. The person who receives the heart is the one who is most sick and in most need of a heart. In the same way here, this is the vaccine priority categories. You will notice A1, A2, and A3. We are vaccinating these three categories right now. They are those most at risk. So our frontliners, those who are meeting and taking care of our COVID-19 patients, senior citizens and above who have a higher risk of getting COVID and dying, and then persons with comorbidities who are also at higher risk. We will then get to economic frontliners, and then the A5 is the poor. And the reason is because the poor are vulnerable because of their poverty. Their health is not as good as other Filipinos. And they also, their living circumstances, they live in very tight, crowded areas in the informal settlements and slums, particularly of Metro Manila. And so the virus can attack those slums and spread all over, which is why we need to vaccinate them before we vaccinate every other Filipino. So this is our vaccine strategy right now. So we are in between the second and third quarter, and you can see we have been vaccinating A1, A2, and A3. And hopefully, as more vaccines become available, we will be going to A4 and A5 before moving to B and C by the end of the year. So this is just an update as of a few days ago. We have received in the country nearly 7.8 million doses, and we have given 2.5 million in the last few days. There are bottlenecks in the vaccine rollout that we are still working through. Now, why should you get vaccinated, especially if you are young? Let me point this out. You are getting vaccinated to protect yourself and to protect those around you. Not everyone can be vaccinated because people who have cancer, people who are immunocompromised, the young, the children, they cannot be vaccinated. So the rest of us have to be vaccinated in order to protect them. That is called herd immunity. And we have to get about 70 to 80% of the population to achieve herd immunity. This is how herd immunity works. So if no one is vaccinated, see the red dots are COVID patients. And the blue dots are people who are not vaccinated. And you can see with no vaccination, the blue dots and the red dots meet each other all the time, and everyone gets sick, and we have a surge like we had 2 months ago, and we have to go into ECQ. And notice what happens at 75%. So at 75%, you have red and you have blue, but most of the people are vaccinated. That is yellow. So the red cannot find the blue because they're surrounded by yellow. So the yellow protect the blue from the red. This is called herd immunity. And once we get to 75% herd immunity in the country, what will happen is that the virus will simply disappear. It will die. It will be starved. This is why we need to get to herd immunity. Now, I just want to end. So there is a big challenge to get our vaccines because our vaccines require refrigeration. And so I am a yeast molecular biologist. So we are developing a yeast oral vaccine for the Philippines. It's called Project Pag-asa. And if this vaccine works, we're going to call it the mini-vax for two reasons. The mini means of the Lord. So this is the vaccine of the Lord, the mini-vax. And it's also because I'm a Dominican. And so this is named after St. Dominic. So it's a Dominivax. We have just finished making this vaccine. I found out last night that we finished making it in the United States. My students will be mailing the vaccine to me the vaccine candidate, and then we will test it at UST with animals to see if it will be able to trigger a response. So remember I told you that a vaccine delivers the spike protein to your body. And so what we have done here is this is a human probiotic yeast. This is a yeast that you can eat, you can drink. We take this yeast and we made this yeast, change the yeast so it makes the SARS-CoV-2 spike protein. And so the idea is you will drink the yeast, you can put it in milk, you can put it in water, you can put it in beer, you drink it, and then the yeast will go to your into your intestines, into your gut. It will live there for 3 days. It will release the spike protein of SARS-CoV-2. And our hope is that your immune response will will recognize the spike protein and make antibodies. So let me end by highlighting the enormous challenges we have. So the COVID-19 vaccination program will be the largest and most complicated public health effort in the history of our beloved country. And it will especially benefit the poor and most vulnerable among us, which is why we need to be vaccinated. Think about the challenge. We have to vaccinate at least 75 million people, basically every single Filipino adult. Why? Because there's 112 Filipinos, but 30 million of the Filipinos are children. They cannot be vaccinated. So everyone else has to be vaccinated. That means all the adults have to be vaccinated. We have to vaccinate most of them twice within a month. And we still have vaccine hesitancy, which is why I give talks like this to encourage my kababayans, our kababayans, to be vaccinated. So in conclusion, it is a blessing from the Lord that we have safe and efficacious vaccines against COVID-19, and that I urge you once again to be vaccinated, not only to protect yourself, but also to protect your neighbors, especially those our lolos, our lolas, and all our kababayans who are sick and because of their sickness cannot be vaccinated themselves. Thank you so much for your kind attention. God bless you.
Thank you, Father Nick, for a very interesting and data-driven presentation. I'm sure that it has clarified any misinformation about COVID vaccines. If not, invite more questions from our viewers. So at this portion of the program, we can now accommodate your questions and comments. Ronnie, you can start it off.
Yes, Kim. So I have here the first question coming from Rupert Rojas. And the question is, uh, how can the Catholic Church help the world to end this pandemic and to save more lives?
Thank you for that wonderful question. Um, First of all, the Catholic Church has to preach Jesus Christ. So, because it is Jesus and Jesus alone who is the source of our hope and the source of our strength. One of the things you see in many Western countries that are now considered post-Christian is that the pandemic revealed to many Westerners that their lives were not as secure as they thought they were. And so they became depressed and are struggling with mental illness and mental anxiety. So the Catholic Church, because she is the Church of Christ, must preach the hope of the resurrection so that we will be able to look beyond the pandemic to see the light on the other side of the tunnel. Furthermore, we have to encourage our fellow Catholics around the world to be vaccinated. And this is one of the reasons why I'm appearing here on the General Assembly for REAP, in order to educate, to respond, and to encourage our kababayans to be vaccinated.
Okay, thank you, Father. Kim, do you have a question?
Okay. Another question from Jonathan. If a vaccinated person from the age group 25 above does not exhibit any side effects, does that mean that the vaccine doesn't work?
Thank you, Jonathan. No, that does not mean that. different bodies react to the vaccine in different ways. The vac you can get the vaccine will work even though there's no side effects. Now let me add something here. Some people will get 2 doses of a vaccine and the side effects will be worse for the first dose rather than the second dose. And they will say, why is that? What that usually means is that you had been infected with COVID-19 without you knowing it. So if you have a very bad reaction on the first dose, what that means is that you had asymptomatic COVID-19. You did not know, no one knew, but your body was already exposed to COVID-19. So the first dose is the second dose that your body is seeing, which is why it's so hard to know exactly why your body is or is not reacting against the vaccine. The vaccine will work. You just have to let yourself be vaccinated. Thank you, Jonathan, for that question.
Oh. Okay, Father. So the next question coming from Patrick Aquino. And this has to do, I think, Father, not more on the scientific area, but more on the operation or the management of the available vaccines in the Philippines. And the question goes like this. Just recently, the Philippines got AstraZeneca vaccines, but many of these supplies are about to expire. Any comment about this, Father?
So I am working with the vaccine task force in Quezon City, and yes, the government officials are aware of the expiration date for the vaccines, which is why they're accelerating the vaccinations with those vaccines. So our hope is we are going to vaccinate. They're even shortening the number of weeks between the doses in order to vaccinate all these people before the vaccines expire.
Next question would be coming from Koi. Do your findings say something about vaccine confidence in relation to age, class, gender, and education? If yes, how do these factors influence vaccine confidence?
Thank you, Koi. No, we have not yet examined the correlations between different demographic parameters and the responses. For the most part, what you see is across the board, people are, they're scared. And I tell it's okay to be scared. If you're scared to be vaccinated, it's okay to be scared because we don't, vaccines are things most of us do not like needles, and a vaccine in this case requires needles. But one of the things, especially as Christians, as Catholics, is that love conquers fear. And we have to understand that despite our fears, we ask to be vaccinated. We receive the vaccinations more because we love our families, and we are willing to take the risk for them. And so, yes, there's going to be the vaccine confidence is hopefully increasing. We're beginning to see some vaccine envy, actually. So people want the vaccine because they see others who've been vaccinated. And we hope that this will continue. We'll be able to achieve herd immunity by Pasko.
Okay. Father, there's a question here that seems to be still a question of hesitancy. No?
Mm-hmm.
And I think the question is not the lack of confidence on the vaccine, but more on the lack of confidence in our government. So the question is, how can I give my trust to our government that they're really giving us the good vaccine?
I mean, here's the thing, right? There are elections next year. If the pandemic doesn't end, I can tell you the politicians will get into trouble. So what's going to happen is they're doing their best to end the pandemic as fast as possible. So if you don't trust them because you don't think they're competent, at least you should trust them because they are desperate. And they're going to do whatever they can do in order to end the pandemic. Now, let me say this. I've been working with Filipino politicians for the last year. And for the most part, the men and women I have met have been incredibly uh, concerned about their constituents, especially the mayors of the NCR. They really are aware of the suffering and the challenges associated with the pandemic. And they are doing their very best to end the pandemic with these vaccines. These vaccines have been tested around the world. They have been approved by numerous countries for vaccination. So it's not just the Philippine government. There are other governments from around the world who have given a seal of approval to these vaccines. So the government is trying hard. I know that I'm very critical of the government sometimes, but for the most part, the men and women I have met are doing their best given the limitations we have in our country because of our poverty. And it's, we are being asked to do our part, to trust that not just the government, but to trust that the scientists who made these vaccines, the scientists who tested the vaccines, and the scientists who reviewed the data of these vaccines in the FDA of the Philippines are trustworthy.
Thank you, Father Nick. The next question is about priority population groups for vaccination. So the viewer is asking, why are priests not included in the priority groups to be vaccinated? Well, in fact, they are also taking risk just to go for mission.
I actually understand that priests are in priority group A4. So they are, so if I'm not mistaken, from what I've heard from talking to a few bishops, is that priests have been actually moved to priority group A4 alongside other economic frontliners who are exposed to large groups of people. So to respond to your viewer, I believe in the last week or so, the IATF has actually changed their priority group, even though I have not received confirmation of that. This has just been through casual conversation, but I believe that priests have in fact been put to group A4.
Okay, Father. This is the next question is I guess one of the most common one among the Filipino people. Can we use different brand of vaccine for the 2 doses?
So thank you for that question. There has only been one study that just came out this week that mixed vaccines. So we're not sure if mixing the vaccines will be as effective as using the same vaccine, which is why for now, until scientists know otherwise, you should receive the second dose of the same brand of the first dose, because we do not know what happens when you mix, right? And you take a huge risk if you mix them, because you don't know what the second one will do to the first one if they're not the same.
Oh, thank you, Father, for that answer.
You're
Kim?
welcome.
Yes, a follow-up question from Koy. Isn't equity an ethical issue too in terms of vaccine distribution among poor and wealthy countries?
So absolutely. So in the United States, I've been very critical about vaccine hoarding and vaccine nationalism, because there's an equity issue. My primary concern is that it is deeply unfair, unjust, that billions of people, billions of healthcare workers around the world have not yet been vaccinated, while Americans are vaccinating everybody. But unfortunately, we do not have an equitable distribution system for vaccines at this time. Um, the Western countries, for the most part, paid for the vaccines, which is why I understand that they got priority to buy the vaccines. However, I am concerned that they did not just buy the vaccines, they hoarded the vaccines because they reserved more than 2 doses for each one of their citizens. And that, I think, is deeply unjust.
Okay, Father. Uh, a while ago, you have explained, Father, about the oral vaccine that you are developing, and there are questions related to this. And these questions are: how will you differentiate? Give us more update, Father, about this, and how will you differentiate it with the Pfizer oral medicine and related to COVID-19? And was the use of fetal cell lines by the J&J vaccine avoidable? So please enlighten us more about this.
So the oral vaccine that we are developing is still in the preclinical trials. So we have made the vaccine. We now have to test the vaccine. We have to test the vaccine here in the Philippines on animals. And if they're able to work in animals, then we will have to ask for Filipino volunteers who would be willing to test this vaccine to see if it works. This is a second generation, not a first generation vaccine. So I did not mention, but you may know that we are expected to be vaccinated against COVID-19 every single year for the rest of our lives. So we would have to be vaccinated either every year or every other year for the rest of our lives, pretty much like flu, in order to prevent the pandemic from coming back. And my hope is that this second generation vaccine will help the Filipinos, especially next year when we have to be vaccinated again. So instead of being vaccinated again, instead of buying all these vaccines again, what would happen is we would be able to use a Filipino made vaccine that is shelf stable. So it can be shipped efficiently to all our rural communities and our different islands where many of them do not have adequate electricity to refrigerate for many months. With regards to the J&J, yes, so the J&J vaccine used the per C6 cell line. So just like AstraZeneca, just like Gamalaya, it was made using a fetal cell line taken from the remains of an aborted fetus. The vaccine that we are working on in the United States, the yeast delivery system, is not going to be associated with abortion in any way.
Thank you, Father. We have a clarification here. Would there be any complications if a person had flu or pneumonia vaccine before receiving the COVID vaccine?
Um, I think what is asked of you is that you are asked to space your vaccines. So I believe the DOH here in the Philippines will ask you if you have received a vaccine in the past month. And if you've received the vaccine in the past month, they're going to encourage you to wait until to get your COVID-19 vaccine. But no, receiving the flu or pneumonia vaccines has no impact on the COVID-19 vaccines. In the same way, if you are vaccinated against polio or measles or mumps, it has no effect on the COVID-19 vaccines that you will get.
Okay, Father, there is another question. I guess this is a very important one. Would you suggest the use of ivermectin for people to treat COVID-19, or at least prevention and to save lives?
So there are very many things that have been proposed around the world to treat COVID-19. So in fact, if you go to India today, there is a movement to encourage people to eat the fecal matter of cows, because in India, they believe that cow poo has anti-COVID-19 properties. Now, the reason why I mention this is because we have to wait until the science tells us if a particular medical intervention is effective. The challenge with ivermectin is that ivermectin For the few studies that suggest that ivermectin may be effective, it's at doses that are approaching toxic levels. So ivermectin is also a poison. And so the danger is that if we are not sure what we are doing, people are basically taking a poison in order to prevent COVID-19, and we do not even know if it prevents COVID-19. So I know that there are several clinical trials of ivermectin that are ongoing in the Philippines, and we need to wait for the data from these trials before we know what to do with them.
Thank you, Father. Our next question reads like this. AstraZeneca only has around 10% protection against the South African variant. Secretary Duque, if I'm not mistaken, said that this is now the dominant variant in the Philippines. Is it now safe for a fully vaccinated person with AstraZeneca vaccine to go on a long-haul plane flight?
So yes, there is data from South Africa that suggests that protection against COVID-19 from AstraZeneca is for AstraZeneca against the B1351 South African variant is relatively small. However, we believe that it still protects against severe COVID and from hospitalizations and death, which means that even if you get COVID-19, because your body has been exposed to the AstraZeneca vaccine, it is able to fight off COVID-19 enough that you don't go to the hospital, number one. So number two, with regards to going on a plane, regardless if you're being vaccinated, we are asked to mask and preserve social distancing on a plane. So regardless of the vaccination, we have to follow all of these protocols. And whether or not it's safe or not really depends upon each individual's decision to balance benefit versus risk.
Okay, Father. Uh, this question is again about the administration of different brands of vaccine. Is it safe, Father, to get vaccinated with another brand, let's say brand X this year, and then brand Y next year?
Yes, so that is very different from the first question. The first question was, can you get one dose of X and second dose of Y? You cannot. We do not have any data supports that. However, yes, if you get AstraZeneca this year, next year you can get Moderna or Pfizer or whatever you want. As long as you complete the 2 doses, next year is a completely new, it's a new playing field. You can decide whatever you want to do. And it's also important to be aware that it is likely that many of these 2-dose vaccines, you will be asked to take a 3rd dose, a booster, either at the end of this year or next year against the variants anyway. They're going to give you extra protection against the variants. So because many of these companies are making special booster shots against the variants.
Thank you, Father. The next question is about side effects from vaccines. Are there adverse effects to persons with comorbidity, especially with diabetes? Or are the adverse effects dependent on the vaccine being administered to such person?
So I do not know. So the first thing I have to say is talk to your doctor. So the most important thing I can say is if you are concerned about being vaccinated because you have an underlying comorbidity or an underlying condition, speak to your doctor. Your doctor is the one who will know this. The only contraindications for the vaccines that we know of right now are allergic responses to the ingredients or components of the vaccine, which is why when you get vaccinated, they're going to ask you if you have been allergic to any of the components of the vaccine. And if you answer yes, then you're not going to be allowed to be inoculated. But for regards to illness, again, your doctor has to decide if you are A cancer patient who's being treated with chemotherapy, your doctor may decide, let's wait for you to be vaccinated. If you're immunocompromised because of some illness, your doctor may say, let's wait. So my answer to people who bring up specific concerns is speak to your doctor.
Okay, Father. This question is related to the previous one, but this time it is in reference to pregnant and lactating nursing mothers. Will it be safe for them and also safe for the child?
So there is data out of the United States in the last month that suggests that COVID-19 vaccination is safe for pregnant and lactating mothers. In fact, there have been babies who have been born immune to COVID-19 because their mothers were vaccinated while they were maturing in their mother's uterus. So there's already cases of babies who are born with antibodies against COVID-19, even though the babies were not vaccinated themselves, they got it from their moms.
Thank you, Father, for that clarification.
Welcome.
The next question would be asking your opinion. So, do you think by January 2022, fully vaccinated travelers coming from home will still be required to go on quarantine?
Uh, like I said, I am fully vaccinated and I'm in quarantine in Makati. Um, in order for this to happen, we have to develop a vaccine passport system for the world so that citizens who've been vaccinated anywhere in the world will be able to present credentials at a border, at an airport, or at a seaport in order to show that they have been vaccinated. So my hope is that by January of 2022, many, if not most, of the countries will have something like that. So the European Union is rolling out a vaccine passport. The United Kingdom is rolling out a vaccine passport. The United States will not be, because it's a deeply politically sensitive issue. And I understand that the Philippines is considering how to do this in a safe, effective, and protected way. We will see, I hope, so that when I come home for Christmas, I don't have to quarantine again.
Okay, so thank you for that answer, Father. And the next question is related to the Dominivax that you are developing, Father. And you already gave us an update about this. But this question seemed to be really directed to you, Father, because you are the only one who can answer this. Could we expect this Dominivax trial to be available, to be the primary target of this Dominivax uh, medicine are the poor and the masses?
So my hope, to respond,
Should be affordable.
only the Lord knows now if the Dominivax is going to work. Not only the Lord, but his mother as well. And I've spoken to both of them, and I told both of them, it's in your hands. We will do the very best science we can do, but especially to the Mother of God. I told Mama Mary, I said, look, you have to pray this into reality if God wants it to happen. That's the first thing. The second thing is, uh, if this vaccine is effective, then it will be made available to whoever wishes to, and I hope especially for the poor, because I would like this vaccine to be as cheap as possible, so it's as affordable as possible for the Filipino people.
Okay. So we are browsing through the list of questions, Father, and I think
Yeah.
we have covered a lot at this point. And Kim, are there uh, do we still have time for the remaining question?
Yes, we have about 5 to 7 minutes. So just keep your questions coming. Uh, Sir Ronnie, you might have spotted a question.
Uh, this one, I guess, was impliedly or indirectly answered by Father. I'm experiencing allergic rhinitis for more than 2 years. Will there be side effects if we get vaccinated?
Again, that is a question that the questioner has to ask his or her doctor. It really depends upon the severity of the allergies. Some vaccines are more reactogenic than others. So he or she may want to wait for a vaccine that is less reactogenic than another. And that, it will, again, is something that the doctor will have to answer.
Thank you, Father.
You're
I found the
welcome.
I found the question related to social teachings. Will there be a possibility that a social teaching be promulgated regarding the importance of vaccination when the time comes that we face the same situation?
I think there's all that's the social teaching of the church, especially her concern for the common good, for solidarity. There's already enough in the church's social teaching that we do not need a specific document on vaccination, right? So the notion of the common good is already there, and it is the common good that calls us to be vaccinated in love, especially when we are fearful or we are hesitant. I don't think there's going to be a need for a specific document on vaccinations.
Okay, Father. Father, you mentioned a while ago that the baby born from a mother who is already vaccinated uh, gets immunity, from the COVID-19 based on the result or of the study or uh,
Well, it's
observations.
not clear if
Uh,
it's from the mother's herself or when she nurses the baby. So it's one of those two. It's either through mother's milk or through the blood. It's not clear exactly which one is working.
okay, Father. Father, in case of this baby who are already immune from the COVID-19, will they still need a vaccination yearly?
Yes, because you see, the immunity against COVID-19 is probably only going to last 1 or 2 years for any human being. So we will simply have to be vaccinated. The mother will have to be vaccinated again. The baby will have to be vaccinated again. So all of us have to be vaccinated again. So this will be something we're going to be, our children, our grandchildren will be vaccinated against COVID. It will take about 100 years before COVID-19 becomes a regular cold. And then we will not need to be vaccinated against that anymore.
Thank you, Father. Next question. After achieving herd immunity, hopefully, what do you think will be the effective setup for face-to-face classes, especially in universities?
Well, hopefully, if we get to herd immunity, it goes back to normal because we have herd immunity against measles now. We have herd immunity against mumps. We don't once we reach herd immunity, we don't worry about it anymore. We just have to maintain herd immunity. So the hope is that once we have herd immunity, January of 2022, it's all back to normal. Exams in the classroom, crowded students, it's all back to normal. We will see, right? So even in like I said, in the United States, As of today, there are no more masks required if you are fully vaccinated. So the idea here is that hopefully certain parts of the United States will attain herd immunity. Others will probably struggle. So the ones where there'll be herd immunity, everything goes back to normal. For those that are not, it will be a challenge. So what's interesting is that there are debates in the United States about whether or not university students should be required to be vaccinated to go back to the university, in order to build herd immunity in the university. This is still an ongoing discussion right now.
Okay, fine. Uh, Here's another question, Father. Some LGUs, local government units, are asking for cardio clearance as requirement for vaccination. Why are they requiring this despite you saying that there is less risk when you go for vaccination?
I have no idea why they're asking that. You can ask them that. You can ask them the DOH. I have no idea. I know that in Quezon City, we do not ask. So I don't know why some other LGUs are asking.
Yes, fine.
Thank you, Father.
You're welcome.
I think that will be our last question for the open forum. And the rest of the questions that were forwarded to us will be collated and emailed to Father for
Okay.
his answers. So at this point, we would like to thank our beloved speaker, Father Nicanor Austriaco, for gracing us with his time and offering his contribution on a very important topic as we fight through this pandemic. And we are indeed privileged to have a scientist with us today. And we appreciate the depth of information that we have received from you, Father Nick.
Thank you so much.
And to formally express our appreciation, may I call on the REAP President, Sir Rioel Rito Senyo, to award the certificate.
Again, of course, on behalf of REAP, Father, we would like to give our profuse thanks for being with us this afternoon. I think if you can see all the questions being generated by your talk, there are so many questions, I think, coming from our members, and of course, not just us, but possibly even from our families. At this point, we would like to present to you virtually our our certificate of appreciation. Of course, I would like to ask Dr. Fides, I think is among us, to join me together with Dr. Mariel, our CPD manager, to present this virtual certificate. Let me read a citation. The Religious Educators Association of the Philippines, REAP, and the Theology and Religious Education Department, TRED, located at third floor Faculty Center Building, De La Salle University, Manila, presents this certificate of appreciation to Reverend Father Nicanor Austriaco, OP, STHD, PhD, for being our resource speaker for the program entitled Hesitancy versus Necessity, Understanding the Ethical Considerations of COVID-19 Vaccination for Religious Educators and REAP General Assembly, held on May 15, 2021 from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. Manila. Issued this 15th day of May 2021 at the Theology and Religious Education Department Office, third floor, Faculty Center, Building, De La Salle University, Manila. Signed by our Chair of the Theology and Religious Education Department, Dr. Fides del Castillo, signed by yours truly, Mr. Rayuel Rito Senyo, and our CPD manager and of our CPD provider of REAP, Dr. Maria Labante. Let us give a round of applause to Father Nick.
Thank you so much for that kind certificate. God bless you all.
Thank you, Father.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Father.
Father.
Miss Kim, before we
So before we proceed, we can have a group picture to cap off the first part of our program.
okay, let's have a group picture po for our documentation, of course, to have Let me just check. You may now open your webcams. Okay, so we have here the gallery view. I think there are we have 7 slides, so you have to wait a bit. So okay, so let's take the first slide. Let me just get this ready. Okay, so ready? First slide. At the count of 3, ready po? 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay, I'm not sure where you are among the slides. Just keep on smiling po. Second slide. Okay, it's now loading. Get ready. At the count of 3, ready? 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay. For our second slide. Okay, it's now loading. Ready po with your webcams open. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3, smile. Don't worry po, we're halfway the pictures. Number 4. Ayan po. Okay, ready po tayo. Ready? 1, 2, 3, smile. There's still people joining us po from the waiting area. Okay, let's go to the next slide. We have profile pictures here, but we will still take their picture. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay, next slide, number 6. We have profile pictures here. We'll take their picture. And the last slide. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Okay, there are 327 of us right now in the Zoom room. So that concludes the picture taking. Miss Kim.
Thank you, Sir Reuel. And once again, we'd like to express our thanks to Father Nick for his wisdom and time with us this afternoon. So at this juncture, I'd like to turn you over to Ronnie as we transition to the second part of the program. Thank you.
Thank you, Kim, for ably facilitating the webinar portion of the program. And I would also like to commend the participants for their active participation during the Q&A. And I know that you are still energized to continue to the next part of the program. But as we move on to the RIP General Assembly for the year 2021, let me first restate the invitation to non-RIP members among the participants today to apply for RIP membership. And the procedure and the requirements for the membership will be taken up later in the program. And also, let me reiterate that all the participants are instructed to stay until the end of the General Assembly. Later, in the breakout room, the Google link will be given for the events evaluation, and that link also will generate the certificates of attendance for the CPD points, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so now welcome to all of you once again, and we are now in the RIP General Assembly for the year 2021. And I'm inviting everyone to welcome with your Zoom heart icon. Okay, para gising tayo. Gamitin natin yung mga icon natin sa Zoom. To welcome Mr. Raywell Senyo, who will deliver the President's Report.
Thank you very much, Sir Ronnie. And of course, Miss Kim for moderating and for being our MCs. Um, so for our the president's report, I would of course like to use the following slides. Ayan po. So I think since the General Assembly happens just once a year, it's I think but proper to of course review, since among us there may be those who are people who would like to join, who are thinking of joining REAP and would like to know about REAP. Other than of course reading it from our official website, it's of course good to review our vision and mission, and of course to see our place in the great scheme of our professional organization. So what is the vision and mission of REAP? So our vision, let me of course read this. The Religious Educators Association of the Philippines envisions an organized body of religious educators committed to improve themselves in order to proficiently embrace and fulfill their mission of proclaiming Christ to the least, the lost, and the last. RIP envisions religious educators who are, number one, perceptive and adept in answering the needs of 21st century learners. Two, responsive in answering the current social, ecological, economic, and political issues by putting God's word into action. Three, able to unleash the potentials of their students to create positive change. And four, competent in transforming the lives of their students and transforming future leaders in faith with zeal for service and through communion in mission. Our mission. The Religious Educators Association of the Philippines provides opportunities for continuous growth and formation of religious educators in the schools and parishes through conferences, forums, linkages, community engagements, research, and publications. And of course, about the logo, there are of course among us people who are asking what the logo means. The star represents excellence as religious educators. The pillar represents the mission and vision of DLSU. The logo, I'm not sure if you notice, shaped like a sickle, which is a farming material used to reap the harvest. And the three colors here, red signifies the pillar of excellence in community engagement. Blue signifies the pillar of excellence in teaching. And yellow signifies the pillar of excellence in research. So it's as if the three colors in many ways also signifies the the important elements we are as religious educators, as people of the academe also vie for. So when we say community engagement, referring to community service, teaching, of course, excellence, and of course excellence in research. And then of course our this reading is where, of course, we get the acronym of REAP as well. The harvest is abundant, but the laborers are few. So ask the master of the harvest to send out laborers for his harvest. From Matthew chapter 9, verses 73 to 78. 73 to 38. I think there's a typo here. Let me double check that. Okay. So that's, of course, the vision, mission, and of course, with the logo. Of course, we would like to also have a survey of what has transpired since last year, since our last General Assembly, last May 2, 2020, which was last year, which is already part of the, we're already in the pandemic. So we had our REAP virtual seminar and General Assembly, where we had this topic, this webinar, facilitated by Dr. Rico Jacoba, one of our REAP officers, entitled Cyber Church Online Multi-Site Worship for Online Worshiping Communities. Okay, again, this is Saturday last year. After that, we had a series of lightning talks. Since we are already, as I said, during the pandemic, we would like to maximize, make the most of our time. So we had a series of so-called REAP lightning talks. So May 16, 2020, we had two talks facilitated by Sir PJ, Mr. Philip Joseph Di Sarmiento of Holy Angels University, and Mr. Rainiel Jason Jacinto Rosales of Santa Teresa College. And these are the topics, or their the titles of their talks. towards a meaningful celebration of the May Marian month in the time of the COVID-19 pandemic, a reflection on the 7 sorrows and 7 joys of the Blessed Virgin Mary, and experiential learning in theology and religious education. Okay, again, take note, this is a Saturday. And then a week after that, we had the next series of talks by Dr. Rito V. Baring and Dr. Mariel A. Abante, okay, from De La Salle University and Santa Teresa College, respectively. And the talks, or the titles of their talks, are Rewards of Doing Religious Education and Parents' Role as Primary Catechists. Okay. And then a week after that, so the next Saturday, we have Dr. Fides del Castillo, our TRED chair from De La Salle University. And then, of course, Mr. Angelo Malyari from Xavier School. And the topics of their talks are religious expression as a response to the pandemic and teaching CLE during this time of pandemic. Okay. And then we had a joint a webinar. This is a joint conference with the University of Santo Tomas Institute of Religion. And the title of the conference is a web conference on how to be a better online teacher, a constructivist approach, with Reverend Father Jesus M. Miranda Jr. OP PhD as our main speaker. Okay. And then after that, we had the continuation of the series of lightning talks, which was already July 25, 2020, with Mr. James Laksa and Mr. Jeff Clyde Corpus, both from De La Salle University. So the topics of their talks are being teachers and formators in post-truth Philippines, possible directions, and death and food offering, the Ilocano Atang ritual from a contextual theology. Okay, again, this is also a Saturday. And then we were very much, of course, blessed to be part of this activity of the Institute of Sacred Scriptures, hosted by the TRED, or the Theology and Religious Education Department. Of course, REAP was blessed to be able to be given was able to partner or to be part of this webinar series entitled "Interpreting the Bible in the Time of Pandemic." So our two main speakers are Dr. Federico Villanueva of the Loyola School of Theology, Asian Theological Seminary, and Professor Dr. Raymond Beringer of Catholic University of Leuven in Belgium. So these are the titles of their talks: Lament in the Time of Pandemic and Activating Hope in the Pandemic, a future-oriented dialogue with Romans chapter 5, verses 1 to 11 in hopeless times. Okay. Again, so that's August 8th. And then also we were very much honored to be part of this talk given entitled Conversatio, Religious Education as Critical Pedagogy, given by or facilitated or delivered by Dr. Michael Cepidoza Campos, part of the faculty of the TRED, or the Theology and Religious Education Department. So this was August 22, 2020. Of course, we are also blessed to be part of the professorial chair lecture of Professor Dr. Agnes M. Brazal, entitled Migrant Remittances as Utang na Loob, Virtues and Vices. Again, this is a Saturday last year, September 5, 2020. And then for the ninth National Conference on Catechesis and Religious Education, with the theme Dialogue with Religious Others Towards Harmony and Justice. So this was last year. This is a Saturday, October 17, 2020. So again, we are very much blessed to be part of the organizing committee. So of course, spearheaded by the Theology and Religious Education Department. So our speakers are the following. We have Dr. Rebecca Cacho, Dr. Malu Ibita, and Dr. Agnes Brazal. So with the title of their talks here, Relevance of Dialogue with Indigenous People, Biblical Hermeneutics and Dialogue, and Dialogue and Proclamation of Truth, Reception of Nostra Aetate and Adientes by the FABC. Okay. And yet we're not yet done. We have last November 21, 2020, we had this, we are also again blessed to be part of this webinar entitled Values Transforming Education in the New Normal. Okay, so we have our resource speaker, Dr. Neil Hawks, the founder of Values-Based Education International. So again, we are very thankful that we were part um, of this activity. So this was again a Saturday. Take note, this is a Saturday. Okay, this is a webinar that we also was able to be part of together with TRED, the Theology and Religious Education Department, and of course the cultural section of the Embassy of the Islamic Republic of Iran. Okay, the title of the talk is The Impact of Muslim-Christian Dialogue to Religious Education. So again, you'll notice this is November 26, 2020. Okay, and then of course the longest series that we have had last year up to this year or early of the first quarter of this year is the Quantum Biblia, an integrated approach to sacred scriptures. This is composed of a lot of institutions, namely CBCP, ECHE, or the Episcopal Commission on Catholic Education, together with the research arm of the University of Santo Tomas, the faculty of the Ecclesiastical Faculty of UST, and of course the Theology and Religious Education Department of TRED, and the NCS PARI project, which is the one who funded this activity. So we had 20 Saturdays series of Quantum Biblia in the morning. Most of them are in the morning. Okay, someone's doing the annotation. Can we okay, let me just stop sharing so that we can reshare again. Okay, let me share once again. Okay, so again, take note that this was Saturdays last year up to March 27. So this started October 24 to March 27, 2021. So a couple of months ago when we ended or finished the series. Okay, and I think among all the activities of although we did have not just religious educators and REAP members participating, but catechists and people coming from the parishes all over the Philippines and even outside. So we have had, I think, approximately about 600 finishers of this program of this Quantum Biblia, and that was of course one good achievements of REAP as well. Okay, so among the many activities of REAP that we are very proud of, we are also proud that this activity today has been given an accreditation by the PRC for a CPD units. Okay, so with 3 CPD units, remember REAP is as a professional organization. We are also a provider, a CPD provider, or a CPD accredited provider that can grant or can apply for CPD points or programs that can be accredited by the PRC, or the Professional Regulation Commission. So for this activity today, I hope you will finish it until later. Okay, we have 3 units. Okay, 3 unit points or credit units. Okay, and then our next activity that has been already accredited, which is 2 weeks from now, a series again. This is a 7-session series or roundtable discussion series entitled Post-Colonial Christianities in the Philippines, 500 Years and Beyond. The PRC has granted it 12 unit points, okay, credit units. And we're also going to apply the International Conference on Catechesis and Religious Education, the ICCRE, for accreditation. That will, of course, I think, which is of course dated on June 25 to 26, 2021. Okay, next month. I would like, of course, again to present to you. So I'm not sure if you were around during the last General Assembly. It's good to make known and, of course, to again present to you the team behind REAP, especially our board officers and the board of trustees and officers of the Religious Educators Association of the Philippines. So I'm not sure if they can open their videos right now and be acknowledged among us. So namely, we have myself. I am Reuel Rito Enseño. I am a faculty of De La Salle College of St. Benilde. And then we have Dr. Dalmasito A. Cordero Jr., Doc Mac, is also with us today. Doc Mac is there. He's a faculty of the Theology and Religious Education Department of DLSU Manila. And then we have Dr. Mariel Ayabante of um, Santa Teresa College in Bawan, Batangas, our corporate secretary and CPD manager. We have Mr. Jeff Clyde G. Corpus, our treasurer. So is he here, Sir Jeff? We will be also reporting later. He is he's a faculty of the Theology and Religious Education Department. We have Dr. Joseph D. Sarmiento, our auditor. He's a faculty of Holy Angels University in Angeles. Our public relations officer, one of our MCs, Sir Ronald, Mr. Ronaldo R. Celestial, Sir Ronnie. Okay, a faculty of the TRED, or the Theology and Religious Education Department of DLSU Manila. And then we have Dr. Rico C. Jacoba, our director of and data privacy officer and website administrator. So he is a faculty of St. Louis University in Baguio. We have Miss Arlene C. Bueno, our director for membership. She is in charge of the memberships for REAP. So she is a faculty of St. Paul College in Parañaque. And last, of course, and but not the least, we have Miss Sherma P. Repol, our director and linkages officer, all the way from Tacloban. She is formerly with St. Scholastica's College in Tacloban, but I think she is now active in the parish. So I'm not sure if she was able to make it today. So thank you to them for being with me, of course, for the many things or many means of organizing or pushing forth the activities of REAP for the past couple of months. So since last year May. So it's as if every month of the year we have activities happening in REAP. So there are people who needs to be admitted. Of course, special thanks goes to Dr. Fides del Castillo and the faculty and staff of the Theology and Religious Education Department, TRED. Okay, so Dr. Fides, I think, is among us today. She gave the opening remarks a while ago. So thank you to Dr. Fides for being very supportive to us in many ways of the activities of TRED. REAP has been given the chance to be part of the preparation, the promotion, and of course, as also recipients, since we are the ones who also attend, that we are not just the ones who facilitate the activity, but we also are the people who attend as part of the participants. Like a while ago, I was also listening intently to the talk of Father, and then not just Father, but even the activities we have had in the past. So I think it's very helpful. So it's not just us doing or organizing, but us also learning and getting the most out of this many webinars activities we have online. Of course, we have our special thanks to all our REAP members. We need not mention you one by one. That may take a long time, but our REAP members, partners from different institutions who have been attending our activities online, and even before the pandemic, we have had a lot of people attending face-to-face in 2019. The many activities that we have had inside the La Salle University, and of course even outside. And we do hope that we continue partnership or the partnership with us, that you may invite REAP in your many in your not of course not today physically, but maybe there is a way for joint conferences and joint webinars that we can facilitate together, so that we can have more people, we can reach more people, not just here locally in the Philippines, but even abroad. And with that, that's of course the report of me as the president. So thank you again for being part of REAP as participants or as REAP members as well. So maybe now call Sir Ronnie.
Yes, thank you, Sir Raywell, for enumerating the webinar activities conducted by REAP for the past month since last year, even in a time of pandemic. So it has been indeed an enriching and fulfilling year for REAP. So all these activities, webinar activities, are meant for continued professional development of REAP members, in accordance with the vision mission of the organization. So for the non-members, participants who are the participants who non-members among the participants today, this is one compelling reason for you to join RIP. So please enlist yourself later as soon as possible. May I call in now Mr. Jeff Clyde Corpus to present the treasurer's report. So let us give Sir Jeff our clap icons. Okay, let's use our clap icons. Yes, Sir Jeff. Please unmute yourself.
You can
Ayan.
tag it.
Thank you very much. Ngayon, co-host na po ako. Hindi ako co-host kanina eh. So thank you very much, Sir Ronnie, and thank you very much, Mr. President Rayuel, for your presentation. And at this point, I would like to present the Statement of Revenue and Expenses of the Religious Educators Association of the Philippines Incorporation as of December 31, 2020. Our revenue are as follows: membership and certificates and interest income. For the year 2019, we have a total revenue of 76,337.33. For the year 2020, we have a total revenue of 76,840.98. The REAP expenses, however, are as follows: office supplies, transportation and travel, notarial fee, taxes and licenses, accreditation and certificate expenses, documentary stamps, training and seminar, and miscellaneous expenses. For the year
With you.
2019, we have 19,247.71 total expenses. For the year 2020, we have 4,697.79 total expenses. The excess of revenue over expenses for the year 2019, we have 57,089.62, and for the year 2020, we have 72,143.19. Okay, so that's it. Certified true and correct and signed by yours truly, REAP Treasurer, and noted by Reuel Ritosenyo, our REAP President. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Sir Jeff, for the accounting reports. And at this point, let us hear from Miss Ayin Bueno for the presentation of the RIP officers and the new membership and institutional membership requirements. So let us shower her with our confetti icons. Our confetti, yes. Miss Ayin.
Peace be with you. Effective May 1, 2021, here are the membership rules and procedures. Article 5, Section 1. There are two types of REAP membership, individual and institutional. For the individual membership, there are two types also, new and renewal. Membership to REAP is open to religious educators and values educators, catechists, campus and pastoral ministers, formators, recollection and retreat facilitators, and church ministry members. New members are required to submit a letter of intent and one character reference or recommendation from any of the following: current employer or school head, if still working as educator or campus minister; parish priest or lay coordinator if an active parish member; and or formator for those who belong to a religious community or faith-based community. All the members are required to participate at least in one REAP General Assembly a year. For the institutional membership that is renewed every year, we have the following categories: small, with 1 to 10 members, 2,000 pesos membership fee; Medium 11 to 20 members, 3,500 pesos. Large 21 to 40 members, 5,000 pesos. And extra large 41 and above members with 8,000 pesos membership fee. Section 2. A member shall have the following rights: to exercise the right to vote on all matters relating to the affairs of the association, to be eligible to any elective or appointive office of the association, to participate in all deliberations, meetings of the association, to avail of the facilities of the association, to examine all the records or books of the association during business hours. Section 3. A member shall have the following duties and responsibilities: to obey and comply with the bylaws, rules, and regulations that may be promulgated by the association from time to time, to attend all meetings of the association, and to pay membership dues and other assessments of the association. Article 6. The suspension, expulsion, termination of membership or barring from membership. A member of the association or member of the public may file charges against any member by filing a written complaint and filling up the incident report form. The REAP Grievance Committee is composed of the REAP President, TRED Chair, Membership Officer, and two other members of the Board of Trustees and Officers. They will submit their findings and proposed course of action to the Board of Trustees for the final decision. The affirmative vote of the majority shall be necessary to suspend, expel, terminate, or bar from membership of the association. Procedures for membership. Choose between the two Google Forms, whether individual or institutional. For individual membership, choose between new or renewal. For new members, please do the following: fill up the online form, upload a letter of intent and one character reference or recommendation from those I mentioned earlier, and upload your proof of payment. Prior to filling up the form, please pay your REAP member dues of 400 pesos through the REAP BPI savings account, over-the-counter or online payment, fund transfer, or GCash. Bank name, Bank of the Philippine Islands. Account name, Religious Educators Association of the Philippines, REAP Incorporation. Account number 2773-0288-96. Make sure to have your whole name typed on the notes of the online banking facility. You may also pay using your GCash using Send Money, Send Bank function through our BPA account 2773-0288-96. For renewing members, you will just need to fill up the online form and upload your proof of payment of 200 pesos through the same online banking facility or GCash. For institutional membership, there will be a different online form to be used, but with almost the same steps. Only one person on behalf of the group will fill up the form, upload the letter of intent, group recommendation from those I mentioned, current employer, or parish priest, or lay coordinator, or formator, and upload your group's proof of payment. For REAP members who have not yet submitted the soft copy of their picture, please send your latest ID picture of good quality. Send it to reapmemberships@gmail.com with the title of the email, REAP ID picture with the complete name of the member. Other than paying the 400 pesos membership dues for new members and 200 pesos for renewal or institutional payment, one must attend the REAP General Assembly yearly or an alternative activity set by the REAP Board officers. And lastly, we would like to reiterate that the REAP Board resolution should be followed. That is, old REAP members who have not renewed their REAP membership for 2020 to 2021 will be considered rather as new REAP members when they reapply for this year, which means that they have to pay the 400 pesos fee and are required to give a letter of intent and recommendation letter. This is, of course, to encourage members to renew membership every year and to actively attend the REAP General Assembly or the alternative REAP activity. Thank you and God bless you.
Thank you, Miss Ayin, for your explanation. and presentation. And before we continue, let me just acknowledge the presence of Dr. Galo Estonilio, uh, who is present today. Dr. Galo Estonilio is the former uh, president of REAP.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. I was trying to respond to Kim's private message, but I think the chat box is disabled. So thank you for organizing this webinar. I remember many years ago, REAP started with 8 people, and 6 out of 8 became officers, and I was considered as the founding president, probably because I came late to the meeting. But now it's nice to see that the week has expanded into a very vibrant and a very active member of the community, religious educators. Several years ago, we envisioned REAP to be the voice, no? The voice of theology, especially to the underprivileged, the the oppressed, and the downtrodden, and to bring education to those who um, were not given the opportunity to go to school. So thank you for this opportunity to bring knowledge about the coronavirus and the vaccine. I have been vaccinated already. I got my second dose last week. It's a long story. I don't belong to the A1, 2, or 3 category, but I got vaccinated, thank God. And today's webinar was very informative. It's nice to see you, Kim. Kim was my former student in Thread 4, and it's nice to see some familiar faces. Uh, Kudos to Ruel, the president, and Sir Mac, the vice president. It's nice to see you all. I have to leave the meeting momentarily with your indulgence because I have a class in the graduate school in my university. So with your indulgence, I have to leave the meeting momentarily. Magandang hapon sa inyong lahat, and God bless us all.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Galo, the founding president of REAP. And thank you also for that short historical background of REAP. And now we move on to the next part of the program. And at this point, uh, there will be an explanation of the REAP website or presentation of the REAP website and data privacy statement, which will be done by Dr. Rico Jacoba. So what about an open mouth? Yun na lang ata natitira. What about an open mouth icon to welcome Dr. Rico?
Thank you, Sir Ronnie. All right, about our website. So let me just go over this now. As of the moment, for the information of everybody, we have a very good website, and I'd like to encourage everyone to, if you have some time, you can just check our website, no? And all the informations, okay, that you want to see, you can find it in our website. All the events will be posted there. And together with the web developer, as of now, we are improving the services that we have in the website. This is the Religious Education Association of the Philippines website. And thanks to our web developer, and we're making the website secure. As of the moment, I am coordinating closely with the web developer, and we're making it a secure website so that our data and anything information posted in our website will be protected. And part of that, of course, is a new policy that we have developed. We have created our policy, okay, privacy policy for our website, and just like any other website and other organizations, we have our privacy policy, and we really we want to protect your privacy, the informations you give every time you visit our website, and that is why we developed this website together with the board. No? We have agreed to develop this privacy policy for our website, and I will not talk more about this. It'll be posted in our website. I just want to encourage everyone, no, to visit our website. Ito yung ating privacy policy. No? Just browse it later on. And this is to assure that anybody who will visit our website, the cookies, of course, the the data that will be collected will be protected because of this privacy policy. So again, of everyone, please, if you have time, lahat ng mga members, you can check our website. You can suggest or you can even suggest what do you want to be posted in our website. We also encourage everybody and everyone, kung meron kayong mga advertisement or ano, then about it, and we can post it in our website. We're linking our website into some more useful so that our website will at least be acknowledged and will be linked to more useful links. No? So yun lang, Sir Roddy. Okay. Para sa website natin. At least alam ng mga members natin na meron tayong website at meron tayong privacy policy on visiting our website. No? Sir Ronnie.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Rico. And just a simple trivia for everyone. I got notified that this year is the 10th year of the existence of RIP. 10th year. So RIP was founded or was organized in 2011. And this year, 2021, is the 10th year of RIP. So what about a love icon to re-acknowledge, no, the existence of RIP? Okay. And now, before we go to we are nearing the last part of the program. But before we have the breakout room, we will have the raffle draw. Okay, there will be five, yeah, raffle of 5 books. There will be 5 winners who will receive this book written, authored by Dr. Mark Ellis. And to facilitate the raffle draw, may I call in Dr. Coy?
Okay,
Dr. Coy, are you with us? Yeah. So,
thank you, Sir Ronnie.
Dr. Coy.
Okay, so nasaan ako? Okay. So thank you, Sir Ronnie, for that. Oh yeah, okay. Now I can see myself. Okay, so I'm so happy to be here, and I'm really glad to see Dr. Galo Estonilo, who was our first I was a founding president. I was part of the original 8. No, I remember that we had to sign the SEC registration for REIT. Okay. Anyway, so I'm very happy to be back here. It's been a long while since I attended the REIT General Assembly. I think I will belong to the institutional membership. Okay, so my task for this afternoon is to facilitate the raffle of 5 books. So let me just explain about the book. May I know who attended this morning's webinar, which we organized at the department? The webinar was about the a Jewish Christian conversation, and we have two eminent scholars with us this morning. Professor Mark Ellis, that is the author of the books that will be giving away, and Dr. Jin Young Choi. So 11, I see 11 hands raised. Okay, so thank you so much for participating this morning. And sana kayong mga nag-attend ang makakuha nitong libro, no, para ma-appreciate nyo pa. But anyway, I have, so sabi ni Sir Riuel na meron tayong, yan, may wheel of names. So I will, magdodraw kami ng 5 pangalan from those who have registered. And yung 5 na yon ang mananalo. Now, yung books lang ang free, not the shipping. So what you should do is put sa chat box yung inyong mga pangalan kung kayo nanalo, so that we can arrange sa shipping. So 5 libro ang ira-raffle namin. And then, pero wag mag-alala kasi hindi lang yung mga mananalo na sa raffle ngayon ang mag-e-enjoy. We are publishing this as a Center for the Study of the Global Prophetic, which I direct together with Professor Ellis. We are giving 50 pesos off dun sa original price ng libro. The retail price is 235. So less 50 pesos, so that's 185. So ang laking discount na yun. So, but that discount is only available today. Today lang. So if you want to order the book, you may put it sa chat box, and then that means you get the 50 pesos discount, which is only today until midnight, until 11:59 in the evening. Okay, and then we'll just the books will be coming from my place here in Quezon City, sa Tandang Sora. So you'll take care of the shipping, but at least, di ba, meron naman yatang 79 pesos lang sa Grab. Okay, so that's it. Okay, Sir Ruel, I think we're ready.
Yes po. Doc Koy, dapat po also the winner should be around to play.
Yes. Yes, oo. Kung wala,
Kung sila nag-attend,
pag wala sila
draw
dito,
again po.
natawag sila. Okay. So how do we know? Kailangan makita natin silang, bubuksan nila yung video nila.
Yes po.
Okay. Sige, we're ready. Oh, this is the book, I Am Who Loves the Prophet, an exile devotional. And it's a wonderful, beautifully haunting book. I'm sure you are familiar with, Christian devotionals, daily bread, pandasal. This is different because this is really an interfaith devotional, and it's a Jewish meditation together in conversation with Christians, Muslims, Buddhists, among others. Okay, and then mamaya siguro yung other book, no, which is I think more exciting. There's another book, but it's not yet available. It will come out soon. Okay, sige Sir Ruel. First winner is Ma'am Eleanor Nicole Elvina. Nasaan si Ma'am Eleanor Nicole? Mapsa Elvina. Okay. Nandito ba si Ma'am?
Nandyan po ba siya? Baka wala po.
Kung wala po, magdodraw kami uli. So 5 pa rin.
Opo.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wala pa si Ma'am. Okay, so sayang. Okay, next. Maria Teresa Meneses, Immaculate Conception Academy of Manila. Okay, nandito ba si Ma'am Maria Teresa Meneses?
Wala po yata.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, wala
narito
kami
po
na
siya.
sayang.
Andiyan po?
Kasi upon searching po sa participants yung name, lumabas po yung name niya.
Andiyan po.
Opo.
Okay.
Kaso,
Alright.
hello ma'am, nandyan ka po.
Andiyan po siya. Opo, andiyan siya.
Pero nandito po yung name niya. I searched po sa list of participants.
I'm here.
Okay po. Congratulations po.
Ma'am. Okay. Okay, you won this book, I Am Who Loves the Prophets. Sige, ma'am,
Thank you so much.
Pakilagay po yung contact number doon sa chat box po. Para
thank you.
Okay.
Thank
so,
you.
1 down, 4 to go. Patrick Aquino ng DLSU. Sir Patrick, nandito si Sir Patrick. Nandito po si Sir Patrick.
Upon searching po sa participants, wala pong nag-a-appear.
Walang Sir Patrick Aquino. Okay.
Wala.
Alright. Yes, huwag tayo. Okay, Ma'am Rosalina Daran ng Diocese of Antipolo. Si Ma'am Rosalina, is she here? Is she around?
Nasa participants po.
I am here.
Participants po. Yan.
Okay, she's here. Congratulations, Ma'am.
Thank you.
Pakilagay po yung contact number sa chat box.
Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations. Next. Okay, our third winner is Ma'am Amelita Tono ng Kolehiyo San Agustin. Ma'am Amelita, nandito po.
Meron po sa participant na Miss Ami Tono. Siya na rin siguro siya.
Hello po.
Ayan.
Hello. Congratulations po.
Hello po.
Yes po. Pakilagay po yung inyong contact number.
Opo.
Okay,
Thank you po.
congratulations. Enjoy the book. Okay.
Thank
Ma'am.
you.
Okay. Our fourth winner, dalawa na lang. Okay, our fourth winner is my student, Makail Villas ng De La Salle Araneta University.
Doc, I'm here!
Yes, you're there because we're not having classes this afternoon. Okay.
Praise the Lord. Thank
Fantastic.
you.
Congratulations, Makail.
Thank you, Doc.
Okay. Great. Okay. Yes. I know your number. Okay na. Okay, so let's go to the last winner of our I Am And our last winner is Donald Raiko of Lourdes School of Mandaluyong. Donald, are you here? Donald Raiko. Nandito po kayo?
Upon searching po sa participants, wala pong nalabas na Donald or Raiko.
Okay.
Opo.
Sige, so meron pa isang chance. Sige po. Okay, and we have Ma'am Darlene Emerense, Darlene Mercado. Nandito po si Ma'am Darlene.
Wala po. Wala po siya sa
Wala din
listahan.
po. Wala rin po sa
Okay,
list.
sige. Ulit ulit. And we have Maria Pia Panis ng DepEd. Ma'am Maria Fia. Si Ma'am Maria. She here? Congratulations, Ma'am. Wala po?
Wala po.
Wala rin
sa-
po.
Okay. Sige, this is really long. Long one. Okay, hopefully this time, ito na. Last winner of our giveaway. Yes. Wala sa taga-thread. We have Ma'am Alona Gases ng TUP. Nandito po si Ma'am Alona.
Wala po.
Wala po.
Sige. Bakit gano'n? Bakit 315 participants pero marami na? Okay po. Rio Gel Santiago ng Gordon Heights National High School. Nandito po kayo.
Wala po.
Sana nandito na. Wala
Opo.
pa rin. Kaya, ating meet and greet at Okay, Marivic Manalo ng De La Salle University, Manila. Nandito po si Ma'am Marivic.
Nandito po siya.
Okay, nandito. Yes, ma'am. Ah! Ano ito? Ba't si Ma'am Jeremy? Meron pa po dito. Ah, yes.
Nandito
mga
po
taga
Marivic
Baguio.
Manalo.
Yes, nandito si Ma'am Marivic.
Thank you po.
Congratulations. And nag-message sa akin kasi si Ma'am, si Dr. Molino, Jeremy, meron siyang copy sa mga books. So if kayong mga nasa Baguio, you are very privileged. You have copies of the book. So mas madali yung shipping. Just contact Ma'am Jeremy Molino. Okay? So that's it for the free giveaway. And remember, you have until midnight tonight to get your 50 peso discount for the book. Uh, Sir Ruel, do you have the copy of the second book, yung Traveling Jewish?
Opo.
Okay, ano na lang
Ipakita
po.
po
And
natin.
that's the last. So we can go on na with our program. So so this book was published before the lockdown, before the pandemic, February 2020, no? And actually, tayo sa Philippines kasi this was initially published by Clarissan. Meron tayo, this is only 235. It's available on Amazon. Yung ebook is $10. And the paperback is $15. So, 235 is really a bargain. Okay, but this second book, we're still trying to find out how we're going to make this available for Philippine audience. Why is the Philippines so special? Because the Traveling Jewish, our latest book, published by the Center for the Study of the Global Prophetic, is about the travels of Jewish theologian Mark H. Ellis in the Philippines and beyond. So, but he began the book is actually a hybrid journal, memoir, and diary about his travel in the Philippines in 2016. So, kaya na-mention dyan, maraming na-mention dyan, and actually half of the book, which I edited and I designed the cover, kalahati ng libro would be photos and it would be familiar. You would see Taft Avenue, Lasal, you would see the Black Nazarene in Quiapo. So this is a very, I think Filipinos would be very interested to see how the Philippines is experienced by a Jewish person and a Jew of conscience. So kasama dyan sa acknowledgement, no? Yung De La Salle University Manila, Mary Hill School of Theology, Laguna Integrated School, at marami sa atin dito ang na-mention, no? Ni Dr. Ellis sa kanyang preface. So we will find a way on how that could be available for the Philippines. It will be out, I think, this month sa May. We're just ano na lang kami, mga konti na lang, no? Konti na lang pagayos, and then it will be available on Amazon. It will be available internationally, but in paperback, hardback, and ebook. Okay, so thank you so much. Thank you for giving me this space, and also to thank everyone who have joined us this morning for the webinar. Thank you po.
Thank you, Doc Koy. And thank you also for the books that you have given for free to the 5 winners. And congratulations to the winners. So now we have come to the last part of the program, and that is the breakout room. So for the breakout room, each participant will be randomly assigned to one of the 8 breakout rooms. So there will be about 50 participants or more to join you per breakout room. And the purpose of this is for the meet and greet. No? So it's time for us to greet our old friends or fellow RIP members and meet new friends, no? Or new RIP members. So this is also an opportunity for everyone to express any queries that you have about RIP, and to facilitate the meet and greet and address your queries are the RIP officers, no, who are assigned to each breakout room. So for breakout room 1, it will be Dr. Rico, and breakout room 2, Dr. PJ, and for breakout room 3, Dr. Mac, and 4, it's me, it's yours truly, and for 5, Miss Kim, breakout room 6, Jeff, and for 7, room 7, Dr. Mariel, And 8, room 8, Miss Ayin. So, and the Google link for evaluation and CPD certificates will be given in the breakout rooms by the moderators. So if the breakout rooms are now open, Sir Raywell,
Yes po.
please click the invitation
Join po.
to join to get inside the room. And God bless everyone.